taking healthcare to islands through boats of hope. Now, I think it's very important for us always, and certainly for me, to understand which neck of the woods I'm from and what is the world in which we actually live and inhabit and work and play. The Brahmaputra is the focus of our work and has been both a lifeline and a great taker, as it were, of people in the region. It starts as the Yarlung Zampu in Tibet, moves down, becomes the Brahmaputra and goes and joins the Ganga as a Padma in Bangladesh, one of the great rivers of the world. And when you look from the sky, from many kilometers up in space, you see three great themes, as it were, of the geography of the region. The Himalaya, the high eastern Himalaya, and the Tibetan plateau, the Shillong plateau in between, and the Brahmaputra flowing through. So from outside, that's what you see. Now, in a way, I live several lives, like all of us do, outside this room. I'm a researcher and director of a center at Jamia, which is the first Northeast center in a central university, but a lot of my work is in the Northeast itself, and particularly in my state of Assam. Many of you have heard of this island called Majuli, which is one of the largest river islands in the world. And it was there that I think I got a bit of a wake-up call when I was a reporter for the New York Times. And let me tell you the story, because that's where everything began. John Burrow, the filmmaker, and I, we were making a film on the Brahmaputra, and we crossed the Brahmaputra by ferry to go to Majuli. We heard this very tragic story of this young woman who died in childbirth because she couldn't get to a hospital in time. That over the next days, the story became more acute and more compelling and tragic, which was that the young woman was having a complicated pregnancy. She was brought from a village by stretcher to the ferry ghat. She could not make the ferry because the ferry had left. She had to wait with her family overnight in the cold of a Assam winter, damp Assam winter, on the ghat, take the ferry the next day. They got to the other side, but by that time, the stress was too much, she had died. So a loss of a life, a loss of two lives. And I said to myself, you know, I was a reporter, I was doing reasonably well in the New York Times. This is unacceptable. We must do something. But what is that something? And as I thought about it and I traveled on the river and met people, the answer came very simply. We have to use the technology that people have used for thousands of years to cross it, which is take a boat. That the service should go to people rather than people coming to the service, for the service. Now, 10%, what is the challenge? That's the challenge. 10% of Assam's population lives on islands. It's the only place in India and perhaps in the whole of Asia where such a large number of people live on islands. They're extremely diverse, thickly populated, and also, like this young woman's story told me, the worst maternal mortality ratio in the country. We bid for a World Bank award. We won it, a ship of hope in a valley of flood. And we built, with that small seed money, we built a boat. Because the concept was, again, to take healthcare to those in need. And it was only when that incident took place that I started researching on this. We built it within 7 months with some advice from MIT on the technology that was to be used. We started 10 years ago with one district trying to cover 14,000 people living on about 7 or 8 islands. Today, we have 15 such boat clinics in 13 districts, a team of 250, which includes doctors, nurses, pharmacists, and others. And we reach, on a regular basis, 2 lakh people in these districts. In all, our total outreach is 15 lakhs. That is nearly 60% of the island population of Assam. Our core work is through what's called the Program Management Unit. We have a team of 6 or 7 people who interact with the district groups and work with them. And our focus remains the reduction of MMR and infant mortality ratios. Assam's maternal mortality ratio, I always say this, Assam has perhaps a peculiar situation, a state caught sometimes in conflict, but the most dangerous place for a young woman to be is to be pregnant and in a rural area without access to health. So our effort has been to bring that access to people through a partnership with the principal stakeholder. Now, we've heard about business, we've heard about connectivity, etc. But believe you me, you don't involve the principal stakeholder, you will never achieve scale. And scale does matter. Because if we are going to achieve any of these things, of health and skills improvement and so on, of education, you must have good health. Because without health, you can't work, you can't go to school, you can't travel, you can't even work in the house. So our MMR rate has come down from 490 to 320, and it's improved dramatically in these areas where we work. These boats are designed and built by local builders, so that there is a local technology which is being encouraged. We have a partnership with business also, with the Oil India, with the Numaligarh refinery, and private donors. Some of you will read Swanomics by Swaminathan Iyer every Sunday. Swami gave money to fund 5 boats. So you have a strange situation where Tambram names will be floating on the rivers or the waters of the Brahmaputra for many years to come, the name of his wife and his children and himself, as the boats are named. Significantly, you know, you've all read recently there's a very high rise in the minority population in Assam. This is one of the reasons. It's not immigration. It is high fertility rates and large families. And for the first time, defying social custom, family pressure, we are having young women coming and saying, we want family planning. We will not listen to our mothers-in-law and to our husbands. And at great risk, with great courage, they're dealing with this. That's the river from a bank. When you are traveling, it is extremely daunting and an extremely arduous task. When you go, it sounds very romantic to take boat journeys to people. You get there, people aren't waiting for you. You have to walk sometimes 3, 4, 5 kilometers in bad weather and good, able to basically reach them. And they try and do 2 camps per day, in which they reach about 1,000 to 2,000 people every day. That's happening every day in 13 districts. Okay? We have a partnership with the government, but we have issues. Sometimes they release funds late. You know how governments work. They release it after 3 months, after 2 months. So we have to scrabble and search, and maybe we need to develop clearly better partnerships with industry that will enable the initiative to remain afloat even if the government is slow to act. We live in a situation of conflict. There are times when there are bunds and it's dangerous to go out, because once you're on the river, bunds don't work. But you have to go from your office or from your home to the car where the boat is. That can be an extremely dangerous and risky business. Deal with ethnic political conflicts, the kind you read about in the papers, monsoons, devastating floods. Sometimes we've had to rescue our own teams by helicopter. In one incident, we've had to do that. And then low levels of water in winter, which make travel by these largish boats a bit hard. So you have to walk longer, take sometimes a tractor, a bullock cart. and even horses, ponies, to get to villages. This is, I think, an innovation which is worth looking at, and we've been asked to expand it to other parts of India. That hasn't happened yet. Turning adversity to hope, but we need to go beyond intervention. What is that? It is inclusive policy changes. This is now seen as a good practice. A good practice in a difficult area. In an area which is known for conflict and disaster, you have this great opportunity which has been converted from a great danger and a great challenge. These have become also, the experience has been converted to teaching tools by the Population Health Foundation of India and is taught across its campuses in India. Sustainable, I think this is sustainable rural management and also inclusive disaster management, because we get information from families, from people in the villages as to what is happening. The Ashas who are in every village, they contact us, they work with us, the Anganwadi workers. So our team may be 250, but actually you multiply it by 10. We have 2,500 people working with us and the communities at all times. Now, there is something more. The boat clinic is really like an app. It's a platform. You can take any application to the area. So now we're talking with banks about rural banking. We're talking to solar companies about bringing in solar power to villages. We're talking with veterinary departments about taking veterinary care to villages, because at the heart of their livelihoods is not just agriculture, it is also livestock. And when the floods come, their livestock is harmed, and their capital, their incomes, their livelihoods diminish. So skill improvement, yes, but livelihood expansion and income expansion. We are really the bottom of the pyramid. We're working at that level because the pyramid must stand on the bottom, obviously, as the economist said. And I close with a simple story, which is the contrast of what happened when I started this initiative. A few years ago, one of our boat clinics was coming back from a camp, and they saw a couple on a very small island waving to them. So they assumed there was some problem, and they came and stopped the boat. And the child, the couple's child, was in critical condition, acute respiratory distress. The doctors had the medicine. She was saved. And the doctor asked, how did you know that, even if it was a question of minutes, if we were even late by half an hour, she would have died. How did you know that we would be here? You were waiting for us. He says, I've been seeing you on traveling and working for the last 3 years. If you go on this route, you're back on the third day. And you're back before sunfall. And that's why we were waiting. To me, that is an amazing testament to the hard work of people, but also to the resilience of ordinary people and the trust that they have in an initiative like this. So, as the days go by, we gain in understanding of these problems, but also appreciate the support we have got from ordinary people based on the courage of the teams that work in this area. Thank you.